Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and today we're back with another honest review of the banner character. In this case, it's Jingliu, a very popular character in version 1.4 of Honkai Star Rail. Now, we do this every single patch for the limited characters and honest review format. We'll go into the pros and cons, but as you know, this channel is always about being straight to the point, so I'm giving you the TLDR right in front. I think there are basically when I do all these testing videos, there are two kinds of characters. The first kind take a little bit more to get used to because maybe they are a little bit more complicated, or they have like pros and cons that I have to weigh before giving my final judgment. And there are other characters, for example in this case, we have Fucc, we have Jingliu, we have LyouRika, which are much simpler to explain and I think are very easy to understand, and I come to a conclusion much quicker. That's why I'm doing this video also within hours of her official release. The moment I tested her, I immediately knew what to say. I think she's a very fantastic unit, and that is really my summary so far. Let me just go into the details, the pros and cons. Now in the background, I will be showing you some fight scenes, and the build that I'm using for these is all the same. On the 4th of Aeon, a Super Imposition 5 free-to-play light cone that you can get from the Herta shop. I have her at E0 and yet she's dealing like a lot of damage on her own. I'll be talking about the build that I'm using and how I can improve from here as well. But the first pro of this character is if you are a new player, or you're building many DPSs, you are looking to explore ice for the first time, you don't have Yenting, and you're thinking about Jingliu, I think she's a super efficient character to build. Efficient in terms of stats. Why do I say that? Her talent ability here, Cranston Transmigration, it gives her insane amounts of crit rate. 47% at level 8, it goes even higher, and it also gives her a lot of attack percentage that scales off, of course, with her base attack. This keyword here, base attack, is very important because that means that stacking a lot of attack percentage on this character doesn't really make sense because of diminishing returns. Attack percentage doesn't modify base attack, so that is something that is important to know, which makes it very easy to reallocate these crit rate stats, this attack percentage stats, into other things that her kit needs. For example, like speed is one of them, and crit damage is another one of them. I'm focusing like substats on speed and as much crit damage as I can. Here would have been a lot higher if I could find the right set of speed boots on the set that I'm using, but I'll talk about that in a little bit too. So that is one, efficiency of stat pooling. The second thing that I think is a huge pro about this character is the team compositions that she can fit in. I already done like a full build guide on the channel if you're interested for team compositions for Jingliu. I'll also leave it in like the video description below on the pinned comment. I think it's very good for any of you who are trying to think like any other fun ways to play this character. Do check that video out. But basically, she fills in a lot of team compositions because she's not as restrictive where she needs, for example, skill point buffers, or she needs to be a bit more hyper carried in a sense. She can be quite flexible, and the reason, which is the third point, is because of the current pool of characters that we have. And one of them is a free-to-play character as of version 1.4. You can pick her up in the Ethereum Wars event, but you can get her for free at E0 even. Pella is a defense shredder with an ultimate ability, and she's also ice element, so it's thematic. But more so than that, you also get E4, which is ice rest down eventually. So she forms a very nice sub DPS AoE defense breaker, which matches very nicely for Jingliu's overall kit because she's also an AoE damage dealer, and having rest down, ice rest down on the enemy and defense breaking is tremendous. Very useful for her too. One thing that we haven't seen that is also upside for her is we also have Ice Harmony character in future that could come out, which may be very interesting to even buff her up even more in that sense. Other than that, she has access to many Harmony characters that she can pick and choose currently in the game state. Bronya, in my opinion, feels the best, especially with E1, able to bump her up, move her quicker so she can get as much stacks of CCG as she can, so that she can get into a transcendent state. Other than that, you have characters, for example, like Tingyun, who gives a lot of energy restoration, a lot of damage percentage, attack percentage too. So very strong unit as well. Asta is a free-to-play option that gives speed, so you help her move quicker. Very nice also to choose from. As if that wasn't enough, right? The whole mouthful. But she also has access to a lot of defensive options. Because her HP sapping is not a lot, for example, like you need a whole dedicated healer to sustain, you actually can get by with like a 4-star healer, for example, like Nickss, who has a bit of aggro draw if you want to turn her a bit more into an aggro monster, or you can play a character like LyouRika, who works very well with a lot of defensive options. She has a lot of options, in my opinion, for defensive slots too. You can even play like a character like March 7 if you have her at higher Eidolons too. She does a bit of healing, which is quite nice if you run her a bit faster. I do more guides on March 7 on the channel too if you're interested in how I built her. So stat-wise, very efficient. Team comp-wise, very efficient. Roster pool that we currently have in the game, very efficient. Looking forward, there is also possibility of upside. And light cones also super efficient. You can use a free-to-play light cone. That is like insane good value. It checks us a lot of boxes for me. As a content creator, I feel responsible also for recommending characters. So I do like this character for a lot of them as well. And even for an experienced player, you have a bit more team comm depth. I think she definitely does do a lot of damage for a lot less. You can even fit like a double DPS team. You can put like, I'm going to plan like put Zealer or Blade on the same team as her eventually to see how that goes. So super good. I really like it a lot. Would I say it's a must pull? I don't think so. You know me, I don't like clickbait everything like this character is a must pull. That's what I said. But I have never ever said like any other character is like super good. I don't think she's on a tier same as Fucc. I think she's a strong DPS, but DPSs are tend to be power crap a little bit quicker and it's a bit iffier to recommend. But still, I think she's probably one of the strongest DPSs we have in the game, if not the strongest right now. Very free to play friendly too. I like her a lot more than Lune personally, as my own bias, so that is my bias thoughts. So other than that, I think let's go on to the relics. Relics is also very flexible to build. My build here is going to be a little bit different from what the majority of people are going for. Why do I do this? Is because I am running her as more of an aggro tank drawer. So if I'm playing with links, drawing the aggro to her, why do I do that? Is because when you draw aggro to a particular character, you funnel energy into them. I talk about it in like one of the team compositions that I do. Effect Rest helped me resist a bit more resistance. As mentioned, if I want to play a double DPS lineup, I can use this crit damage. HP here, just make her a bit more tanky when she's soaking damage and gives very efficient 16% crit rate when she's hit like twice. So this is like super good amounts of value. 16% crit rate is like 32% crit value, which is very high compared to the other stats in the game. This allows me to settle most of my crit rate coming just from one 4-piece set here, because she gains like 47% in substats and allows me a lot more like flexibility. I can run, for example, like Fucc if I wanted to in the same team, or etc. So I think that is very good value. And whenever I need to like switch up my gear, I don't worry about over capping on crit because it's quite easy to find. So what are the main stats I'm using right now? As mentioned, I think the most interesting one that I want to talk about is the link rope. I'm running an energy regeneration rate link rope instead of attack percentage. Why do I do that? Not only because I found speed and crit damage just nice, but I think attack percentage on her is not really as good because she scales off with base attack and diminishing returns of attack percentage and stuff like that. What she needs is a little bit more energy regeneration rate because you want her to out more often. The more she outs, the more stacks of CCG she has, which basically extends her DPS window by a significant amount. With that being said, this should be a speed boots, but I don't have speed boots right now on my account. As you can see here, this is like HP. I'm just getting tons of HP with nothing to do with speed and crit damage in the subs. So for now, unfortunately, I'm using this, but I would ideally want to switch it to speed so it's more in line with the thematic. And for the body, I'm using crit damage and ice damage boost on the planisphere as well, looking for crit damage as well as speed wherever I can. So that's basically like how I'm building this character. I think the cons, let's now talk about the downsides of this particular character after trying her out for a bit. I think that this character is in a very unique position but uses a lot of popular characters, with the exception of course of Pella. If you don't have her at E4, I think most of us will likely be running with the same characters like Bronya. You'll probably be running with characters like Tingyun and maybe even like Luota. They'll all be fighting in the same spots, especially if you have other DPSs, for example like Lune, you have for example maybe Zealer, you have Jingyuan, all use more or less like the same support buffers, which is why I don't really like DPSs in the game when new ones are introduced that use just the same pool of characters. I think it just stretches accounts even further in terms of resources, because the biggest thing is like you need to build a second team, and I think she can if you build a team with for example Pella, but that's why like characters like Blade are very good because they don't use the DPSs that everyone else requires. Like doesn't really benefit too much from Tingyun, so it frees up Tingyun to do something else. And in moving forward, I think characters that don't use the meta DPSs or the meta supports to do a lot of value could likely see more higher rating, in my opinion, in my books at least, compared to a character that's just using the standard template and just like plug and play. But granted, she uses the current cast very well, and I think she shouldn't be penalized for that either, because it's just a matter of time of when she came. If you are thinking of maybe pulling the other units, for example like Zealer, or maybe you're thinking of Topaz and Nambi, I have other comparison videos that go more in depth in like investment value and stuff like that. You guys can check it out on channel. Otherwise, I have already quite a lot of theory on Jingliu for team compositions. Do check it out. I think you'll find it a lot of fun playing with different team comps. I even put quite a bit of meme there for you to enjoy, like a waifu team and stuff. Otherwise, anyways, thank you so much for watching. We do this every single patch. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of such content. And thank you so much for watching again. See you next video.